Welcome to Morrison Madness. I'm Lachelle.
And I'm Don.
And we are doing more Tenderloin reviews today.
This is Tenderloin Reviews Part 2.
Part 2. So we have from 3 different places today. One, again, there's one place that we've been trying to get a tenderloin from a couple times, and both times they're not able to.
Name shall not be spoken.
Right. They're too busy to make a to-go order for us, so all right, then we won't try it.
Right.
So today we have from the Vine, which is on, is it Gilbert Street? Mm-hmm. Vine in Iowa City. We have from Jonesy's, and then we have from...
And Jonesy's is out in South Park by, off of Highway 1.
Okay. It's weird to me because that's north of Iowa City that it's called South Park, but I believe you that that's what it's called. It's out by the Highlander.
No, maybe you're right. Maybe it is North Park.
It's on Highland Place, out north of the interstate.
Yeah, out past ACT and...
Yes, yep. So Jonesy's in Iowa City, and then Short's East Side is where we got the 3 burgers.
Which is off of Scott and Rochester.
Right. So here we have Short's is on my right.
No, that's the Vine.
Correct. I am looking at this backwards. This is the Vine. Jonesy's is in the middle, and then Short's is actually on my left, on Don's side if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're just listening, we will do our best to describe the differences as we taste them. So we are going to take a moment and fill our plates, and we'll be back with you in 1 moment.
Great. Okay. This. Okay.
Dig in. Yep.
Okay. 1 pickle. Jonesy's here in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And Shorts. Okay.
I'm stealing that. Well, I didn't have any breakfast.
I didn't
any
either.
brunch. Because by the time I got around to it, it was getting too close, and then I was like, well, I won't be hungry
Right.
to do this. And then do you want ketchup, Joe, mustard?
No, that's okay.
I do.
I think so.
Which, all 3, just...
Mustard and mayo.
I keep getting the ketchup out. It's Miracle Whip. Is that alright?
Yeah, that's fine.
So you picked up these 2 magazines? Who got these? Did you?
I did, at Short's.
And it's funny, on the back of the one magazine, Hamburg Inn.
Oh yeah, an ad for it.
Full page ad.
Well, I don't know if there's a certain time of the day that'd be better for them. I suppose they could have.
Eh.
I don't think they like doing a whole lot of that.
You throw that away for me.
This is not working out very well for me here.
I'm sorry. Did you get a napkin? Yeah, you've got napkins over there. Okay.
Joe, would you like a napkin?
Sure, I'll take one. Thank you.
Are you done with these?
Yes. So you're not going to try them without anything, are you?
Well, I've got that.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
You fucking right.
It didn't hit the bun at all. It just all over his thumb.
Maybe that'll make your thumb better.
Yeah, there you go.
Couldn't hurt at this point.
It's fighting hard.
That's not in the camera view, is it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Ready to get going again?
Yeah, anytime.
All right. Okay, so we are back. We have filled our plates. So we are going to start with the vine. Does that sound good to you?
Yep.
All right. So we're going to start with the vine. All of these, I noticed both the vine and Jonesy's were very big around, where Shorts was a little bit smaller as far as how much stuck over top of the bun. I meant to mention that when we did the full view. So back up a little bit if you want to relook at those. But
Well, so the Vine and Jonesy's are a lot thinner. They have
Yeah.
definitely been
Yep.
pounded out more.
Yeah.
Another big difference that you'll notice, it looks to me like that Jonesy's, or the Vine and Jonesy's, are both breaded, and Shorts is battered.
Is battered. Yeah.
So here
All
we
right.
go, starting with the Vine.
Starting with the vine. Very crunchy. Good flavor. A little on the drier side of the tenderloins that we've had. Trying to remember back to the other tenderloins that we did. And again, I'm trying this without any stuff on it. Just the tenderloin itself. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, to me it's really dry. It's really, the breading is too crunchy and the meat inside is almost dry like jerky. It's not overly chewy, but it's way overly dry.
Well, and even looking at the meat when you cut it crosswise, it is thin, like, I mean, super thin.
Which doesn't necessarily make it
No.
a problem, but
No,
then you've got to adjust your cooking time or something, because this is,
it's a little dry. I feel like this might be the thinnest, if I remember right, though. I'm gonna try it with a little bit of mayo mustard mix. And a little pickle. It has a good flavor.
yeah, the flavor's not bad. I will say one thing that I really like is the fact that they use the red onions, where everybody else just
Oh,
seems to use the
sure.
regular white onions.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm ready to try the next one if you're ready to try the next one. I'll let you finish chewing. Take a drink. And if you're doing this along with us, make sure you're letting us know what you think. See if we're accurate in our descriptions, or if we've missed terms or vocabulary that we should be describing this better.
So again, it does have really good flavor, but it's just so crunchy and dry. The breading is so crunchy and the meat is so dry, it's almost like you're eating a tenderloin flavored potato chip
Almost, yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Jonesy is next.
So Jonesy's is definitely thicker. I mean, it's almost
Yep.
at least half again, as if not twice as thick as what the Vine one
Yep.
was. Very tender. Mm-hmm. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's juicy, but it's far from dry. I know a lot of people hate this word. I would say it's moist.
I would say the same thing.
Has a really good flavor.
It does. It has a slightly different flavor from any of the other tenderloins that I can remember.
The breading has because the bites that I just took didn't have the bun or no pickles or anything on it. It was the stuff that was hanging over the bun. The breading has almost no flavor, so it doesn't take away from the flavor of the meat. I
Right.
mean, you can tell that there's breading there, but there's not a bunch of seasonings in it that would detract from the flavor of the meat.
Right.
It has really good flavor.
It almost feels like it has a bit of a, it's not smoked, but it has some sort of flavoring to it. It's not the pork tenderloin flavor that I'm used to, which is really actually a very good twist. I'm very pleasantly surprised, but it has a different flavor to it. Can you are you getting that, or is it just me? Maybe it's just
you.
me. Okay.
I'm just tasting.
I'm weird.
I'm just tasting good pork flavor
Yeah.
meat.
Yeah. It's very good. I'm going to try it here with a little bit of pickle and mayo. Very good. Very good tenderloin. And yes, it's has a very good texture to it.
Absolutely.
All right. On to
Shorts East Side.
Shorts East Side. Okay. And this one's thicker.
Quite a bit thicker. And again, this one is breaded and not battered. Or no, this one's battered.
Battered.
Not breaded.
Not breaded. And it doesn't stick out over the bun very far, I noticed. So the batter is very crunchy. I'm not sure if you could hear that in the microphone of me chewing. And that bite had probably more batter than pork tenderloin in it.
So the batter is crunchy, but it's certainly not overcooked in any way. And again, the batter doesn't have a bunch of seasonings in it, so I can taste the batter, but it doesn't detract from the flavor of the tenderloin. And the tenderloin, again, not juicy or greasy, just moist. It's so not dry.
Right.
I mean, it tastes very, very good.
So I would say that this reminds me, it's not juicy in the way like dark meat would be juicy versus white meat, but it's still white meat and not dry.
Yes.
But it has a very white meat-esque texture, flavor, everything that way. Where when I compare it to like Jonesy's, that's more of a dark meat flavor and texture. If that makes sense.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not getting that, but I definitely agree with you about the part that it doesn't have your typical like overcooked chicken breast,
Right.
dry flavor kind of thing, or
Right.
an overcooked pork chop flavor.
Right. If you can hear the puppies playing in the background, you can just pretend that they're upset that they're not getting pork tenderloin to eat, I guess.
Yeah, they're supposed to be napping and they don't want any part of it because they know we have food.
They're playing around instead.
So I don't know if we made this clear during the first
Right. Last
part
week's.
of this, right, when we did the other 4 places. I actually prefer battered anything, whether it's fish or whatever, to breaded. That's
Right.
that's just my personal preference.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I don't love breaded tenderloins. Right. Because
you actually,
I do.
Last time you liked the Midtown one over the Shakespeare's, even though Shakespeare's was battered.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge, right?
And I think it was more of I don't know if there was a little bit of flavor seasoning in their breading.
Right. Yeah.
Because normally if I have 2 choices, I'm normally going to pick the battered
Right.
over the breaded.
Right.
But I mean, if we go somewhere, I almost, rather than getting a hamburger someplace, I'm almost always going to get a tenderloin if they have one.
Sure.
And I don't care if it's battered or breaded.
Right. So, and again, kind of trying to remember back to last week when we tried the other tenderloins. I'm comparing kind of the shorts to Shakespeare's just because they're both battered. They're both a little thicker. And again, I would say Shakespeare's was much more juicier.
Yes.
Things that way. And again, more of like a dark meat feel versus the shorts has more of that white meat feel, although it is not dry. Where a lot of white meat
and you know what? I
stuff
guess
reminds me of dryness.
at first when you were saying dark meat, I was thinking red meat. But no, you're talking about like the dark meat of a chicken.
Right.
Or of a turkey.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you now. I see what you're saying. It does have...
Yeah. I realize that pork isn't supposed to really have that, but that was the best way to kind of describe this. And even the look of it looks that way.
Yes, I agree. I see, now I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Good, then I'm not crazy. Woohoo! We've established that today. All right, so do we vote? Do we decide? Do we say what we like? Okay. Out of these 3.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
So, even though it's breaded and not battered, I'm kind of leaning towards Jonesy, but just barely. I mean, I really like shorts. Jonesy's just by like if we were doing Olympic voting, I'd have to give Jonesy's like a 9 and Shorts like an 8.5.
Sure. Okay.
I'm not a big fan of the vines. It's just too, I don't know if it's because it's pounded out too thin, but it is too dry, too crunchy, takes away from any kind of a flavor. The only thing that I really liked about theirs is the fact that it came with the
Red onions.
red onions instead of just the plain white onions.
Okay. Well, I would say Vine is third on my list for today. And then I would say second place is actually going to be Shorts for me. And then Jonesy's comes in top. And part of it is I am not a fan of white meat. And I know that. I mean, and again, not just because white meat tends to be drier and I'm not a big fan of dry meat, but in general, the texture, the flavor, that kind of stuff, it feels to me more like a chicken sandwich than a tenderloin as far as Shorts goes. It's totally a tenderloin, but
so if you can remember back to last week,
yeah,
and let's kind of use that Olympic voting.
Sure.
Which would you pick? I mean, we had 7 altogether.
Oh. Can I say my top 3 and then go from there? Or do I have to do all 7?
No, well, you can just give your top 3 and give them a point rating.
Okay. So I would say third place would probably be Midtown, but I kind of want to have my top 3 all together to try them to make sure that I'm right. We might have to do a third one of these, but maybe we'll wait a few months before we do, so I'm not like overloaded on tenderloins. But I would say Midtown would come into my third place, and I would say I would give them probably like an 8. Probably an 8.
Okay.
And then Jonesy's would come in second. And I would give them like a 9, maybe. Yeah, probably a 9. And then I would say my top is actually Shakespeare's, and I would give them like a 9.25.
Okay.
It's just a little bit, and the reason being is that it's that thicker, juicier meat, which I appreciate. That is something that I really like better. But I do really like Jonesy's. I like the flavor. It is not dry at all. And the other part for me, and I know tenderloin's a big part of it, is how big can the tenderloin be versus how small can the bun be, it seems like.
In Iowa, it's that way.
It is definitely that way. And for me, I would rather have more, like I probably would cut up Jonesy's tenderloin and stack it to fit on the bun and not have it hang over the side kind of idea. And maybe that would change how my rating would go ultimately if I did it that way. But I like Shakespeare's. Even though Shakespeare's hangs over the bun, it's not so much over the bun because it's thicker meat. And I feel like it's more an actual sandwich instead of a bunch of meat with a little bread.
I can relate to that. So I would probably, it's really tough for me because if I have to pick just a straight up winner, I would probably have to go Shakes as well.
Really? That changes from last week?
Well, again, I like the battering more.
Yeah.
And so I would give Shakes like a 9.2, and then I would give Midtown like a 9.15.
Oh, that close. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, it's tough for me.
Sure. Okay.
And then, I mean, the next closest to those, I'd give Jonesy's an 8.5 and Shorts an 8. I don't remember all of the other ones.
Right.
It's that close for me at the top. But I do prefer battered over breaded.
Right.
No matter what I'm eating, whether it's chicken or fish or pork tenderloins, and that gives Shakes that little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
But the Midtown, the flavor of it was great. It was moist.
Right.
And again, Jonesy's isn't that far behind.
No, I would almost.
So maybe I would say like a 9.2, a 9.1, and a 9.
Right.
I mean, they're good.
Yeah, I honestly would have to put Midtowns and Jonesy's next to each other to know for sure which one came out on top.
Yeah, it's tough trying to remember back a week.
And the only reason Shakespeare stands out is because it's different.
Yes.
It's a completely different style, and that's just a preference that I have. I don't know that it would stand up, like if there was a committee kind of thing, that they would agree with me. So.
So they all came with sides.
Yes.
And we got French fries on the side. We didn't try any of the French fries or anything.
Nope.
So we're not going to discuss, their sides or anything like that.
Right.
But they did come with sides. So price-wise, value-wise,
Oh, yeah.
the Vine came in at $15.79. These are before tax prices. Jonesy's was $11.50, and then Short's East Side was $16. And so, from a value aspect, I mean, Jonesy's definitely
wins out
this week.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, that's not a huge issue.
Right.
It wouldn't bother me to go into a restaurant. I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't believe your tenderloin's $15. I don't think that's outrageous.
No, right.
That to me, you're gonna pay depending on whether you're in a small town or a bigger town, and how big the tenderloin is. You're gonna pay somewhere between $10 and $20.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I don't have an issue with that. So
Right.
I don't feel like any of the prices are out of line. We're just letting you know what the price differences were.
Right. Yeah.
So again, if you have any questions about it, please throw them our way.
Right.
You can either send us messages through Facebook and Instagram, or you
Yep.
can comment on the YouTube video.
Yep.
We try to keep up on that stuff as much as possible. If you have places that you think we should try out, and again, these were all places that are on the east side of Iowa City.
Right.
That was what a person that suggested it to us said, that we should specifically do places on the east side of Iowa City.
Well, and it's partly too because we live on the east side, and so going to pick them all up and bring them home.
My wife's not very good with directions. We live on the south side of Iowa City.
Southeast side of Iowa City. And so we're closer to the east side. We're between the east side and central, if you really want to get technical. If you really want to Google stalk us, you can actually find our address. But in any case, doing the east side was easier for us to go pick food up, get it all here kind of close to the same time too, versus traveling to Coralville or something that way, because there are some great places that people have suggested that we should try out, but they're in far Coralville, which is harder for us to get it home and try it while it's still warm. So that was part of our reasoning for doing east side Iowa City as well.
Yes.
Just to be transparent and honest.
Right.
So, all right. Again, check us out on social media. Make sure you're liking and commenting if you're watching on YouTube. Feel free to comment if you're on the podcast. We're doing our best to try and find your comments and respond to them there. If you think that we should pick our top and redo this, definitely leave us a comment, and we will do that at some point in the future. We'll probably take a couple weeks break, just so then that way we can kind of cleanse our palates of tenderloins for a little while.
Or if you think there's a different food that we should try out that would really, make a difference in being taste tested, we can certainly, do a different food at a later date, whether it's
Absolutely.
burritos or fried chicken or pizza.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah. So, again, thank you for joining us. We hope you had a great time. And let us know, did you try this along with us, or are you going to go out and try a tenderloin now? Or maybe you don't like tenderloins at all, and this was a silly podcast for you. I'm not sure. But anyway, we love to hear from you. We'll see you next time. Take care. Oh, leave that bark in, please.